Hi guys, and welcome back to Bookhaven with me, Kim. Today I'll be doing a January 2019 wrap-up, so stick around. So in the month of January, I did way better than I expected. I ended up reading 13 physical books and 1 audiobook. So I'm going to be going through pretty quickly what I read and a quick rating. And any of the information about the books, if you're interested, will be linked down below. So I will start off with my young adult selection. I read The Crowns of Crossbows by D.E. Knight, and I gave this one 4 stars out of 5. It was basically a coming of age story. Girl goes to magical school, and if you're interested, I did do a video on it, and that will be linked down below as well. So 4 to 5 stars if you're interested in checking out. The author also has her second book out in the last week or so. Then I read East by Edith Patu, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars. Basically a Beauty and the Beast retelling with a bit of a Norwegian twist. Great book and highly recommend. And I finally got to The Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. This book, I believe I gave 3 out of 5 stars. I was not a huge fan. Maybe it was just the mood I was in. I'm very much a mood reader, and I don't know why I didn't like it. I love Laini Taylor's writing. Again, I think it was just the mood I was in, but not going to continue on with the series. Then we have Thunderhead by Neal Shusterman. I love this book. I think I gave it 4 to 5 stars, maybe 5, can't remember, but it was an amazing book, and I thought it was a duology with the Scythe book, but I think it's turning out to be a trilogy. Don't quote me on it, but there is another book coming out in the series, and I can't wait to read it. Last from my YA selections, I've got Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas, and this is in the Throne of Glass series, I think second last book. I've got somewhere here on my bookshelf. Don't know where it is, but I've got the last book, and I'm so excited to finally finish the series, probably in March, because my February TBR is huge. This I gave 4 to 5 stars. I did like it. I think I've given most of the books out of the Throne of Glass series 4 to 5 stars, except for one which I really didn't like. But this one I think might have been one of my favorites. I liked how it just took a break from the normal world and got away from the main characters and followed Kale, and it was a really good book. If you're going to read any of them and you didn't feel like going into the first few books and reading the whole series, I highly recommend checking out this book. It's really great. First off, in my middle grade books, I finished Astrid the Unstoppable by Maria Parr. This had been on my TBR and I had been talking about it for the last couple of months, and I finally finished it. I did an entire video on it, so you can find that down below, but I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. It was a great one to read, and I fell in love with the character, the scenery. It was in Norway, which if you followed me up until now, you know that I love. So pick this up, check it out, go take a look at my other video. A short novella I also finished this month was A Long Walk to Water by Linda Sue Park. This is based on a true story. I also did a full review on this book, and you can check it out down below as well. I gave this novella 5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was very interesting, very sad but uplifting and hopeful as well. And this basically takes place in Sudan during the Civil War in the 80s. But check it out down below if you want to know more. Then I finished the second book in the Percy Jackson series by Rick Riordan. I gave this book 2 stars out of 5. To tell you the truth, I absolutely hated it. I really liked the first book, and I am going to continue the series because I have a feeling I will like the series overall, and there are some branch offs that I'm dying to get into, but this book was awful for me, and I will never reread it. Then I've got Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger, and this was the book that my husband got me for Christmas, and I absolutely loved it. I think I gave it 4 to 5 stars. I'm very excited to continue the series. I know my book is somewhere in this world on the way to me, and hopefully I can add it to my TBR in February. Anyways, it's about a young girl with a photographic memory, and she's never felt like she quite fit in. And one day at a museum, someone approaches her and said they've been looking for her for 12 years. So if you're interested in that, I'll have the link down below. Next, a little bit out of my usual choice and genre, I have Pillow Thoughts by Courtney Peppernell. This is a collection of poetry, which I gave 3.5 stars out of 5. I'm not one to really read poetry unless it has to do with nature, but I did really like some of these poems, and it really sort of just, some of them help heal my heart back together, or, you know, help me through a couple rough days this month. And as you can see, I know you might hate this, but I did mark quite a few poems that I really liked. You can see here, oh no, they're all dog-eared, but pretty good book. And I've got a few adult fiction that I completed this month. The first one being Faithful by Alice Hoffman. She wrote Practical Magic. Some of you might have seen the movie if you haven't read the book, but she's also written a few other books that I really liked, and I fell in love with this story. It was a recommendation from a family member of mine. If you want to hear more about my thoughts, I've got an entire video on it. This is basically about healing and finding hope and community with the people around you. And this is a great book if you're a dog lover. Please go check out my other video or look at the Goodreads link, because you'll love this book. Then a last minute book that I picked up and threw into my January TBR and managed to finish was Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. This was a recommendation from a booktuber friend of mine, and this book absolutely broke my heart. I gave it 4.5 stars out of 5, but definite trigger warnings. This book touches on depression and assisted suicide. It's basically about this woman, Louisa, who ends up losing her job and goes to the employment center and ends up being sent to work as a caregiver for this 30-something-year-old man who is a quadriplegic. There was a beautiful romance, great writing, and just a lot of thought-provoking material. But it is a great book, and I would recommend it to anyone. And I also read Moon of the Crusted Snow by Wabashig Rice. I did a full video and review on this book as well. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, and it's a really interesting read. Basically, not post-apocalyptic, but dystopian, where a northern Anishinaabe community loses power and has to deal with the outcome of that and sort of go back to the old ways, and while they wait and see just how serious the situation is. Last but not least is an audiobook that I listened to, and it was probably my favorite book of possibly the last year, but definitely this month, and that is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I had put it off forever. I didn't really think I'd be interested in it from the summary, and so many people have just been raving about it, and the hype honestly scared me away. But I finally listened to it on audiobook version, and I can't believe it. It was amazing. It was everything that everyone said. I wish I had picked it up earlier. I actually look forward to reading a physical copy at some point. It was just that good. I don't give 5 out of 5 stars very easily, but this book 100% deserved it. And if you're interested in learning more, if you haven't heard about it, I'll link it down below. Go check it out. Don't be scared by the hype. This was an incredible masterpiece of a book and in an audiobook. The narrators were just phenomenal. So thanks again for joining me here on Bookhaven. If this is your first time here, hit that like and subscribe button. And until next time, keep reading and have a great month. Bye guys.